your lowest common denominator. It's like your building block. And so you want your module to not repeat yet, because the pattern is going to be the repeat, right? So if you're already repeating something, like Mariana, may I draw on this piece? Okay, Mariana's like, gosh, I'm repeating myself. And even though it doesn't repeat in all four corners, because this is the same, you're gonna get the same design. So you're not gonna be like super surprised by it. Like when this repeats here, I might get a shape that goes like this in the center and goes like, like this. You know, I'll see a circle going around it, right? And I also might see on a shape like this, maybe these just go up and down, and maybe instead of going in a circle, it just creates a half circle. So this will create two patterns, but not a bajillion. This, because it's not a pattern yet, is gonna create all kinds of crazy patterns. For example, this one right here is so asymmetrical that she could get squares, but she could also, and she could get circles, and she could get blobs, but depending on how she turned it, she could get zigzags, or she could get scallops. But what's cool is when you look at how this and this, if you kept connecting it, this could turn into dots. Or this, since it's here and this is here, when it repeats, this could suddenly start going zigzaggy. Now on this one, this can only be circles or scallops because it's the same on both sides. So you're gonna get half as many possibilities. This, because you have no idea what's gonna happen, because it consistently hits almost every time. She's got some corner, no, she's got some points here where they don't. They don't always have to hit, but you have them hitting center and then half points so consistently that she's gonna get some really cool designs here, okay?
Can I have many lines going to one point, or is just one for point?
You can have many lines going to one point. Like here you have two and here you have two. That will still work because, for instance, this may make a curving diamond, but this may keep continuing on in another way. So you can have, it's called coinciding lines. So on this one, now why did I say she's screwed up then?
Because she, I think because she made it in the middle.
Isn't it already a pattern, kinda? Yeah. And yeah, it'll meet up, like this will meet up here. Like if I look at this point and this point and this point and this point, each, it's like perfect on each point. But if you can draw a line in it and each corner is basically the same as another, then 1/4, can you crop that to 1/4 just with lines or something on here to see? Like, can you just do some small lines?
Red one.
Yeah. So what you want to do here is 3 by 3 is big enough so it doesn't get too fussy. But if you have something that's going like this, you know, and all of these are at the same point, like let's say we have something like this. It's already a pattern. It's not going to do you much good. So if you can draw lines through your module that go like this, and each one of these is about the same, then what your pattern really is on this one, this here, here, and here, and it needs some work.
I drew them on red. Can you see them?
Yeah, so I don't think it's exactly.
It's like if you rotate it, it would be the same.
Yeah, exactly. And so if she were then to take 1/4 of one of these, just crop it, and then try to take that and blow it up, it would really start rotating differently. Okay? Got it? Now, I'd like for you to write this down or follow it on video carefully. And Elena, we're videotaping this so you can see it even better. When you have your 3 by 3 inch square, this is called your module. You don't want the edges of your module to show, because when the edges are inked in like this, when you repeat it, it looks like a grid, and we want to get rid of the grid so people don't know how it's repeated. Okay, so like when I look at Ariana's shirt, and she's got fern shapes growing, there's not a grid on it for you to see how it goes. So this grid is invisible. Got it? So these lines, like you don't see a grid on that one. This right here, whatever's inside, is called a motif. And I'll be using those words, okay? What I'd like for you to do is, in your imagination, put a dot at whatever you think is the top. And here are the ways this can go together, and I'd like for you to be ready to do this next class. So you have your pattern design. I'd like for you to repeat it 4 times, and we're gonna try different rotations of it. So the first rotation will be all up. So the way we do this in pattern design is up, 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 up. That is, you take it and the top is up, okay? Now, the next pattern possibility is up, down, up, down. The next pattern possibility is up, wait. I know this by heart. Yeah, up, down, up, down. And then there's only one other possibility, up, side, down, side. So it's all up, 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 down, down, up, down, and rotate it. Now, pattern designers do this with a foretop. Like if you're in fashion design, do you know people who design patterns are flown all over the world by their company to look at various textiles, and you start at about $150,000 a year for designing patterns, and it's a job. And this is called a foretop, and you have to do at least one foretop to see the way the 4 sides will combine. What's cool is once you do a foretop, if you keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it, all of these edges on the foretop will automatically meet up. If the foretop meets up, everything else meets up. What's very cool about these patterns is once you start, if you make a circle on them, does anybody have one cut out? No? Once I get a foretop, I will know that this one will meet here, this one will meet here, this one will meet here, this one will meet here. And when she's tiling like this, the reason this works is that that's basically a foretop already. And did you notice when you saw this and then you saw the way it went together, people were like, whoa, that's so cool? Because there's no glitches in the design. And if you ever see a bad piece of fabric, the glitch in the design, that's a bad foretop. So what I want you to do is you really should have this done already. And I'd like for you to experiment with at least 2 foretops by next class. On tracing paper is fine, okay? Because if everybody has 2 foretops where you've traced this using one of these you've traced this using one of these rotations. When you trace it, you're matching up your motif, but not the outline. You're not showing the grid. Like on hers, it doesn't show the grid. And I will put this online as an assignment. So your pattern then, we're at the end of class, I'm sure. Oh, 4 minutes. So what'll happen is Mariana will have 2 6 by 6 inch tracings, because this is 3. So she has a foretop, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll make a 6 inch tracing, which will fit on a piece of tracing paper. If she traces this, and says this is the top. If she uses this last example, she would have traced it this way, then turn it this way and hooked it up, then turn it this way and hooked it up, and turn it this way and hooked it up. So she'll have a 6 by 6 inch square with no grid in it that has these like cool patterns. Now our objective is to design something like this, a module, and try to make 2 patterns from the same module that look completely different, like totally crazy different. And you would not believe they were from the same module. Now she's gotten a little bit loopy with this, so she's gonna have a pretty loopy, crazy design. You can also, okay, think about there's a reason you did your positive and negative space before this one. You can do things like a natural design, but watch your positive and negative space because it really makes a difference here. But for instance, if you wanted to make a design that looked kind of like, more like a leaf type of design, or a floral type of design, and then you had something that looked like this, try not to do hearts and strawberries that are so literal, because when you rotate it, the strawberries and hearts go upside down. And if you've ever had a piece of clothing, like, where the print goes upside down, it's confusing. So you still want it to be kind of abstract. But you could be like it doesn't have to be as loopy as this. Does anybody have one that's more geometric? Yeah, so like these are some rough ideas. Like hers looks really great. These will work out really great. Try to avoid the center, that's good. If you have something that's right in the center, it kind of lines up no matter how you rotate it. So things that are off center are really cool because you can't follow what the pattern's doing. These are really good ones. This will have some good outcomes too. Now, one of the things that can really help is if you see how you're seeing shapes? Shapes are better than lines. Lines start, you've got strong shapes here that are activated with lines. If it's all lines, then it's gonna look super lacy and tangled. Careful about, oh, that's, okay, it's hers. What was yours looking like? You had one. Did anybody else have one to look at? It's okay if it's not quite, let's look at that one.
Those ones.
Okay, so now you've got some good ideas on shapes, but you've got it coming to the center, right? So what you might want to do on that one is just not let it be to the center. What would happen if the center shows that you're having, anyway, what would happen here if it went like this and then went like this V here, went like that instead? So that might be more interesting if it was a little off center.
At first I thought everything had to like touch the center. I don't know why.
I know, that is something about the positive and negative space. We're so used to looking at the center of the page that it's like, oh, I have to make everything go there. And it's like, artistically, it's so much more interesting if it's not in the middle. But these, okay, so if you didn't have that in the center, or lines that would go to the center, but these kinds of lines will be very cool. Like you've got the right idea here. This kind of thing hitting here will go loop-de-loop-de-loop-de-loop, and then see how it goes over here?
Yeah.
Then it'll go up, down, up. These will go wiggle-dee and then up and down. This line right here, though, would start making cool zigzags. One thing that you can do on this is when you're working with it, and I know I'm right at the end, and this is the last thing I'm going to show you.
Okay.
If you cut it out like this, and hold on, and you bend it around, will it do it? Like this. If you make a roll out of it, here we go. Aha. If you cut it out and roll the edges to each other, you can see how it matches up. Do you see how that matches up? It's pretty cool actually, so that when you do that, See how your dots work really perfectly from there to there? And from there to there, see how they match up? And this one matches up?
Oh, yeah.
It's a whole lot easier to do if you cut out the square. So, you know, I can imagine what this looks like with this, but if you cut out the square and then roll it into a little tube and make this side match this side in a little tube, it's so cool. You start seeing all these patterns emerge like, it's like a kaleidoscope. You feel comfortable?
Yeah. Right. Thank you.
Okay. I think we had a better class.
Can I get like a sheet of that?
Yes, everybody can have this, and Tara knows where the,
Can I take a picture of the thing, please?
oh yes, you can have these. Would you like these?
Yes. I need a better example.
Tara knows where the tracing paper is. Take this as much as you need, you paid for it. Tracing paper will be on the table. I